What is up? Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at various Bitcoin mining stocks. And something we started doing last week is highlighting a different mining stock each week, just taking a look at some of the buzz, news, and information out there on one of the miners. After we'll get through the feature mining stock, we'll go through some technical analysis, of course. So let's start off with fear and greed. CNN, we are still in neutrality. Same thing with crypto. So really nothing's changed. As we take a look at the mining stocks today, the one that we highlighted last week was Mara. So go back and watch that video for more information. But this week we are going to be taking a look at Iris Energy. Now, this one was kind of hanging in the middle, bottom 10 for a while, and all of a sudden it just blasted off and overtook the number one spot. And one of the big reasons for it is its connection to AI. As many of you know, NVIDIA and other AI stocks have been doing pretty darn well. The semiconductors, of course, too. But Iron specifically says it is using crypto mining to AI cloud services, which is, and I'm not going to pretend to understand a lot of this stuff, but just having that AI connection is what's driving the narrative recently, at least as far as what I've seen out there. So if you have a promising stock and AI is involved somehow, and here we are on the cusp of the AI bubble compared to the dot-com bubble of the early 2000s, it might do pretty well for you. So many different bullish pieces of news out there for IRN. And yeah, this is just talking about how its pivot to AI did pretty well for its price. We won't read all the way through that. Also talking about a renewable energy role for their data grid centers. That people want to hear that when it comes to miners. And if we go to Market Watch, let's take a look at some of the financials, shall we? So we, of course, took a look at Mara last week. As far as IREN, by the way, Market Watch, just great website if you want to get really into the weeds on this stuff. As far as, what I'm looking for is good, positive trends. As far as its sale revenue, I mean, that's pretty dang positive right there. Let's go to their balance sheet. Let that load up. They have over $500 million in cash and short-term investments. That's good. And as well as, let's see, there's a little bit missing from some of its balance sheet here. Total current assets, $641 million. Total assets, $3 billion. And, that is a very, very positive ratio compared to its liabilities. So, good fundamentals out there. Decent looking balance sheet. Good news about it. So IRN, there you have it. That's a few reasons why it is one of the top mining stocks. As far as analysis, first let's just jump in the crypto. We were talking about this 50-day moving average needing to be taken, and then we have this key trend line and the downward channel area of resistance. So if Bitcoin can get above 115.2, that'll do pretty well for other crypto assets. But if we go to IREN and take a look at the technical analysis here, something we talked about last week, we have a fib drawn from where it initially IPO'd from the high to the low. And right now IREN is at that 1618 fib extension. Now it does look to be moving above it pretty well, and so if this thing continues to ride up, we have the 2618 at 7156. Do keep in mind that this is almost a $13 billion market cap. So if you're thinking about investing $1,000 into IREN today and you want $2,000, you're looking for this thing to dang near double and shoot up to this 3618. So can it happen? Maybe, but just something to keep in mind is that, this is really at an 800% move over the last half a year. So something to consider. IREN, we've been talking about all these mining stocks for over a year now, And if you haven't been in these before they make these big moves, I think it's more towards the area of, are we getting close to taking profits compared to buying in? Now, if we get a bearish October, iron comes down a little bit, we could take a look at some of those fib discount levels. So let's do that right here. We have the 236, which is not too far above its all-time high right here. The 236 at 29 bucks. So pullback for iron somewhere around 29 bucks might be an area to watch for. All right, let's get into the other miners. Actually, before we go further, let's take a look at their RSI a little bit here. And then we'll go to the weekly. So the RSI, very overbought, but it can stay overbought for a while. And then if we take a look at the MACD as well, you can see the MACD is, man, this thing is just shooting up very, very strongly. So, sometimes when these RSIs stay overbought for a bit, or at least when we get sort of this double move, as soon as this starts to come down, that's where I'd be a little bit wary of wherever iron's price action might go. But for right now, I think, riding the wave of bullishness is the way to go. I don't see much resistance in the way right now, other than, this thing just having a big move, couple big moves up. But I do think, there will be a time soon where it just maybe settles down a little bit and gets back to one of those maybe daily moving averages or so. So yeah, we talked about that fib daily moving average. Which one is it liked the most on these moves up? It's like the 20. So if it ever comes back down to around that 20 moving average, that'd be what you would look for. All right, let's go to Riot. We have Riot saved on here, so let's hop right into it. The number 2 overall miner, and this thing just continues to be bullish. So was in that downward channel, and after moving off its 236 fib at around the high $6, low $7 area, it is moving on up. Now you see where all of a sudden it ran into a little bit of resistance, and you just have to look horizontally, and you see this area where this former high in July of 23, that's the area to get above. So if Riot can get above this area of around 20 and a half, I think that'd be pretty good for Riot. Overall, it's looking bullish. So curious to see what it happens up here when it gets to the 618 and to the 6.5. That's the golden pocket area. Would not be surprised to see a little bit of profit taking there. But Riot looking very strong as well. Let's go over to Mara. And as far as Mara goes, here we're still in the daily time frame. Did draw this trend line series of lower highs, and so if we can get above that trend line, that'd be bullish. But if it comes back down, I like Mara, and if it gets down to that $16 area again or lower, I don't mind that as far as discount territory. Now we are in this somewhat of a descending channel. You could also call this a large amount of accumulation too. And you know what? Taking a look at this as far as not just the lower highs, but we also have these higher lows as well. So maybe Mara is getting ready for a big move as we close in on this area. But yeah, so far Mara, it's not moving as strong as Iron or Riot or some of the others. But I think, this mining stock, at least out of the top 5 or so, has been the most disappointing because it's just been going sideways for a bit. But I am hopeful that this one will pop off soon. So kind of like the large caps in crypto for the altcoins, I'm waiting for this one to all of a sudden just pop off. And I think when it does, $40 or higher would definitely be in the cards. Let's take a look at some of those other indicators that we went through before. We'll do the MACD, of course, and we'll do the ultimate RSI instead. RSI, it's still got a lot of room up to go, but right here it's just sort of going sideways around that 50 area. On the weekly, on the weekly, it does look like it wants to, or at least has room to move up more as well on the MACD. So both bullish pieces of news, in my opinion, but it's still waiting for liftoff as far as Mara is concerned. All right, let's move on to Coors. Coors was, for a moment, a few months back, the number one mining stock. And, that's something else to keep in mind is that as we've been going through this, these number one miners, they kind of been trading places. So do be aware of that. Coors revisiting its former all-time high, breaking through this trend line of these lower highs so we can get rid of that. And as far as the daily, I mean, we're right there. So if Coors can move up past its former all-time high, then the next area to watch for some level of resistance, take our fib off log from the high to the low, would be $26. So Coors, $5.5 billion market cap, looking like it's getting ready to break through. And guys, by the way, doesn't this just feel a little bit different than what's going on in the rest of the crypto world as far as altcoins are concerned? So as we talk about crypto and altcoins, a lot of things have been bleeding back to Bitcoin, but so far the miners, we've long talked about how these move with Bitcoin and do well with Bitcoin. So if miners are kind of doing well, I wonder if we have some positive price action for Bitcoin coming pretty soon as well. Let's take a look at Cypher. Cypher in the number 5 spot. This one, I think it got out of the top 10 briefly. So yeah, Cypher hit its former all-time high area all the way back from 2021. I'm very happy about this because I've been dollar cost averaging a little bit of Cypher here and there. But it hit that all-time high area, came back down to the 20. I bet if we put the small moving average, it'd probably be up there. Let's see. I know I have different moving average. Here we go. The bull market support band will show it as well. Oh, that's for the weekly. My apologies. But yeah, I bet if we had the small moving average up there, it'd probably show it. Here we go. We can just look at our buy-sell signal that we have. Not quite. So not quite there. Thought maybe it would hit it, but not so much. Either way, on this move up, it is getting close to that 20 moving average. And, it has a green candle right now. So if Cypher, again, if it's going to get above that former all-time high, some of the next areas to look at, take your macro fib off log, and here are some of your fib extensions, $24, $39. It all depends. Remember, this is a market cap of $5 billion. So if you believe this can get to 10 billion, 20 billion, you do the math. Maybe this thing could 4 or 5x at least, and hey, if it did a little over 3x, you're looking at that 2618 there. So hopefully we see Cypher breaking new all-time highs. We have Iron a new all-time high. We have Cypher getting ready. We also have, which one was it? We have Coors. So, already that's 3 out of the top 5 in or near all-time high territory. So definitely things are starting to pop off for these mining stocks. Let's take a look at Wolf. Wolf is still in its ascending channel. It's gotten out of that golden pocket area, and it is moving up towards that 786 at around 1705. So watch for 1705 as the next area of some minor resistance for Wolf. Outside of that, looking across, a lot of these are bullish, and it seems like, to me at least, Marathon has some work to do. It's got to get moving here. All right, CleanSpark. Let's go to the number 7 overall, and CLSK, CleanSpark. And CleanSpark, now this is a piece of good news. So we've been talking about this descending channel, the golden pocket here, 618 to 65. CleanSpark moving out of the descending channel, golden pocket. So with a nice measured move, I'd be looking at least the 888, which is about a 2x from here. So if CleanSpark, the $4 billion market cap mining stock, if this thing can truly start moving up, I'm looking past 786 now. 786 has been areas of resistance in the past, so maybe that's going to be more resistance than maybe I'm giving it credit for, albeit, this descending channel for this much time. I'm looking for a decent sized move. So, if by the time we're talking about CleanSpark a month or so from now, and all of a sudden it's at $30, I would not be surprised for CleanSpark. Let's go to, we haven't taken a look at BitDeer in a while, and then we'll finish with these three low market cap ones, Bitfarms, Digital, and Hive. Let's take a look at BitDeer. And as far as BitDeer is concerned, came back down to underneath its former all-time highs, but it kept this series of higher lows. It kept that trend line. I guess this trend line wasn't quite perfect. Not that it honored it perfectly, but it is moving back up again. So BitDeer looks to be, maybe it'll bounce just cleanly off that 20 and get back to the 1618 where it was before, 2618 there at $34. All right, let's get to our bottom three. We'll take a look at Bitfarms. And Bitfarms, came up to that former area of all-time highs. I don't have a golden pocket fib on this one, so let's add that in. And you guys, I hope you can see, by the way, I like showing you how I'm doing this, so you can do that for yourself as well. That 618 to 65 area has been massive areas of resistance. So Bitfarms, nice move up, and a little bit of a pullback from that golden pocket. But if this is truly, if this is a true positive move, then we are looking for this thing to get to the 786 or higher. Now, let's say October ends up being a little bit bearish. The narrative of the government shutdown, all that stuff. Let's say some of this stuff plays out. We get a bearish October. Of course, for these lower caps, don't be surprised if they come down. This one tested its 0.5. If you like Bitfarms and it gets to that $191 area, that'd be an area I wouldn't want to miss. But Bitfarms, should it get higher than these areas back here, 786, 888, somewhere around $7 or higher, hopefully we'll see that in the near future. Let's take a look at Bit Digital and then close out with Hive. So Bit Digital, I have this channel drawn here, but really the way I see this is just massive accumulation. And Bit Digital, the BTBT ticker, with a shade under a $1 billion market cap, continues to hover above its 32. Right now it's at all the supports at, it's 20, it's 50, 100, 200, all its supports, all its moving averages. So once Bit Digital decides to break out, I think a very massive move can come for this one. Let's add in that golden pocket for this one as well as the 888, because I have a feeling that once these other ones start turning very bullish, we're going to see those fibs come into play. Oh my God, I didn't deselect it. That was nightmare fuel. So yeah, Bit Digital, once it breaks out of this accumulation, I'm expecting far higher than this golden pocket area, a lot more than that. So let's finish off with Hive. And Hive Digital Technologies, still in that descending channel. It's underneath the 382, so technically it can still put in new lower lows, just like we had the low here. Never really stayed above the 382 for too long. You can go on the weekly there. Got rejected by the 0.5 and the 200, and it just keeps coming down. And then we have that big channel. So, we're in an important area of resistance right here. Now, it is above the 50, so that is bullish. But that 200, you can see how that 200 has been tough in the past. So if this is truly the time for Hive to break out, all we have is this channel and the 0.5 left there. But I think breaking out of this area, especially with how the 200 has honored that resistance, once we get above that area here at around 415, again, I think this is one that can pop off very fast. Just go to last cycle. You can see how Hive, this was the second low and just kind of went sideways. And it was about November 2020 to February. All of a sudden, Hive went from $1.62 to $26. So, not saying Hive has to get the former all-time highs, But if we saw a similar move where it's just popping off inside of a couple months, that's when you know it's go time and probably end of cycle crypto plays or things are at play. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. How you feeling about miners? Overall, I think not only are some doing very well, especially with the all-time high territory or challenging it, but other ones have had pretty decent moves up and are getting ready to blast off. Now, again, we'll see what October brings for us, but so far I'm feeling happier with my mining stock portfolio than I am my altcoin portfolio at the moment. So just being honest with you, but that's part of the plan, is because these miners move with Bitcoin, that once Bitcoin is done moving up or you get good profits from these miners, some of them you could rotate into altcoins if you believe they're going to pop off and get a nice rotation play there. Not going to do that for all of them, but for the lower market cap ones, it's definitely part of my plan. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care.